I remember all of this shit happening and thinking it was fucking, this was like the original Fyre Fest. I was sitting at home fucking laughing my ass off, being like, you guys paid a whole bunch of money to be drowned in shit and not have any water. Like, it's fucking incredible. I love it. You guys deserve this and worse.
Welcome to Call Out Culture Podcast with Alaska, Curly Castro, and Zilla Rock.
All right, Call Out Culture Podcast. We're here. It's a new day. Myke C-Town is back. First time we brought this dude on, Esquire, Preston Esquire. He's here from DeadEndHipHop. The last time we had this guy on, we talked about Fun Crusher Plus, and he's back today to talk about an equally important moment in our lives.
The other side of the coin. The other side of the coin.
Bizarro Fun Crusher.
Bizarre Fun Crusher.
What could be the complete inverse of Fun Crusher Plus? Woodstock 99. We needed Myke to come back.
I mean, it's actually might be the true definition of fun crushing, because it looks like there's nothing fun about that day.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Myke, I personally wanted you on the call to give us how old were you when that was happening? I just want to in 99.
You owe me a what?
No, I was saying, how old were you in 99?
Oh, I thought you said I owe you an appetite. I'm like, what is that is that a bar? I don't get it.
It's from a Limp Bizkit song.
Oh, okay. All right. How old was I in 99? Shit.
Well, were you in your 20s at that point? I was
in my early 20s.
So you were aware of the rock scene, and you were a rock fan of that in that ilk, in that time period. I'm saying. I'm just
well, by that point, by 99, I was already in like a metal band and listening to like like extreme metal. I wasn't listening to shit like Limp Bizkit. All of that stuff completely passed me by.
Okay. But that's why I wanted you on the call as a person, a practitioner, and somebody in the scene at that time. Yeah. I just wanted your perspective of what they were doing.
We're gonna get to it. We'll get to that.
I'm an outside looking in guy. I'm hip hop all the way through, but I will tell you, I had a nice stream. Papa Roach, Stain. I was into all of them.
You got to. Let me just say this right now.
So into them.
There has to be a way for you to put a limiter on your AirPods, because the show just started and you're already distorting and peaking, and I'm excited to hear how much louder and crazier I'm
gonna flip it. I'm using these because I'm charging my iPod.
Okay, good.
So once I flip the headphones, it's a power thing. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it. I want the energy to remain true. That's what I'm saying. We're already starting at a 10, which is wonderful. Alaska's here. He's not at a 10 as usual. He's just sitting in front of the old air conditioner drinking his seltzer. Am I correct?
Feel that?
More or less, yeah. The air conditioner's not on because it's nice and cool up here tonight. But.
And guess what I got for tonight?
What do you got? Oh no, we got the Bland whiskey in the house. We out here. I got the Two Robbers hard crafted orange mango seltzer from Philadelphia. So
I want you.
They should be sponsoring the show. I've been tagging them on IG.
I want you to go.
If there is a new Woodstock, that would be the official drink of the new Woodstock.
Two Robbers hard seltzer, orange
Has
mango.
anybody tried the Dos Hombres? Bryan Cranston and Aaron Pauls.
The mezcal?
Yeah, the mezcal. I want to get some because they big on the advertising. I'm not big
on our show.
Fan.
Yeah, they should advertise on the show.
They should advertise.
Myke, what's your biggest advertiser?
we don't.
Bob's Big Boy.
No, we don't get advertisers, man. We're not very desirable, dude.
Y'all don't have the Seat Geek promotion.
No mattresses. You ain't got the Casper mattresses popping off.
No, you know what though? Like Seat Geek, some bitches, bro. Like they sent me an email and they were like, "Hey, we want to partner with you. We love your content." I'm like, one, you've never watched my content. You're full of shit. Right. But I was like, well, shit, cool. Seat Geek. I'll take some money, So I emailed him back. I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. Crickets. I waited like a week. You know what I mean? I hit him again. I'm like, yo, hey, you sent me this email. I'm following up. I felt like that dude that like got the number from the girl at the club. And she like, it was like the wrong fucking number. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Like you reached out to me. Like, I feel like that Martin episode, they called me. They called me.
And it's funny, I bring it up because SeatGeek, they're like the standard, like a lot of YouTubers. Them and Rich Wallace.
Oh, the one that's popping now is like the CBD gummies. That's a popular podcast.
I want that.
Yeah.
No, I want Pink Horsepower. I'm calling Cameron.
Yes, the Cameron gasoline dick pills. Yes.
The Pink Horsepower. He has an aphrodisiac on the market. Well, it's on the street market. Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's Pink Horsepower.
It is not approved by any type of governing
and it is
body
flying off the shelves. Cats order boxes. It's funny. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen because it actually works. So the hood guys advertise it. So they're like, yo, you can't take it outside with your friends because you have to take it within 15 minutes of the placata. So you can't be outside just sipping it. It's a liquid and not being ready to go with, to go high performance.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Any of y'all tried it?
I'm scared, but it's a.
So wait. How do we know it works?
It's a roofie. It sounds like.
But these hood cats are all swearing by it. They're not lying on their dick. Hood cats don't lie on the dick unless they need to. Right. So all of these guys are.
So how do we know they don't need money and thus need to lie on it?
Because the fucking shit costs $50 a pop.
300.
Wow.
Yes, 50 a pop and 300.
Wait. I just want to understand this. So right, it's a canned drink that you and your girl drink and then y'all get horny?
The man drinks it. He made it with this pharmaceutical and also farming thing because they also make his weed. So he has like a purple haze strain and he came up with this Pink Horsepower stuff. Yep. And at first I thought it was like a powder or pill, but then I started seeing the pink liquid moving around. I said, oh, it's like a little drink. And
it's like strawberry Nesquik.
Mike, I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood like anybody else. So we tried the Spanish fly at the front counter. I can't tell with any certainty that it did anything or it didn't. I was so excited and so hypnotized from knowing about Spanish fly and ooh, don't you or don't you. I popped it and just had sex with a girl. I don't know what happened.
Oh, this is dick hard shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you said aphrodisiac. I thought you meant like it gets.
No, I think it's like a little both because these guys say I be giving my girl the placata laid out. Like I need another. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, granted.
But they're also not going to go on and be like, we tried to get intimate and it just didn't work. It was like a floppy tube sock.
I got a lot going on. I'm thinking about bills.
That's not something they're going to admit either.
You know when I'll believe it? I'll believe it when the girls come forward and they're like, yeah, my man took it and we went on that.
All right. Now they're all females that come and buy the 3-pack.
It's all dudes.
I've seen messages.
Right.
I've seen messages from some females buying 3-packs for what they meant. So
okay. All right, that's fair.
And have there been clinical trials? Do we know if it's a placebo effect or if it's?
Listen, the bottom line is Call Out Culture Podcast and DeadEndHipHop both we co-sign the what is it called again?
Pink Pussy Power.
Pink Horsepower.
2.0 because this is the second
2.0, the even better.
2.0, the second.
New and improved advanced.
The first one led to brain hemorrhaging.
Yo, y'all,
anal leakage.
Alaska, don't. When I come up there and I pull up and I do the spiel. Don't mess up my, I have to do this. When I do the audio call, just let it ride because we're getting the money.
I'll let it ride.
Right.
Well, speaking of gas station dick pills and possible insane side effects, Woodstock 99. So we decided to talk about this event because there's a new documentary, which sadly is produced by Bill Simmons, but it's good, right? It's really cool. Yeah. It's cool because Alaska's not excited about this. It's cool because
it's fucking awful.
you get to look back at not too distant past and then draw a lot of parallels between some temperaments and trends from back in the day, how they maybe took root back then and how they rear their head out today. So, Mike, I don't know if you watched Woodstock 99 documentary or you're just going off. Okay, you did. Cool. So we've all seen it. All right. Yeah. So the first
I want to give the first testimony.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay?
Go for it.
I personally remembered Woodstock 94
yes.
more than the 99 because I remember Woodstock 94. The lineup was Woodstockian, if you will. A lot of like, what do they call them? Like trans bands and musicians, acoustic, those like type
hippie
of
bands and shit, right?
Yes, that's what littered that whole line. I'm excuse me for failing to remember some of the acts, but those type of acts, like
shouts to the Goats from Philly. The Goats were on that bill.
Yeah, PM Dawn would be on there for a simple example. And so that's how that lineup went. A lot of peaceful, everybody sitting in the park listening to acoustic artists, sitting down in the grass, right?
Right. Blues Traveler was in the mix. I'm looking at the lineup.
Thank you.
Collective Soul.
So when 99 came up, I thought, hey, that's kind of quick. Like, it's not that big, gap of this big bicentennial event. But I thought it would be the same because I thought Woodstock was about the lineup and the peace and love, those type of acts.
Right.
So that I just wanted to put that out there. I was thinking 94 again. I didn't.
Okay.
Right.
Well, here's the difference between 94 and 99 was that 94 had like Joe Cocker, Melissa Etheridge, Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Yep.
The Goats.
Cranberries, the Goats.
The Goats.
But then it still had like Cypress Hill, Salt and Pepper, Metallica, Nine Inch Nails, Rollins Band, Aerosmith. So they still were getting a little.
Okay.
Gil Scott Heron played Arrested Development, the Allman Brothers.
But I guarantee the schedule was more befitting.
Green Day.
You say Jackal?
Spreading those artists out.
Jackal
played?
Mike Eagle's favorite band, Spin Doctors, were tearing it down on the North Stage in August 14th. Santana, Neville Brothers, Ika Mouse, Castro.
I love the I like the Neville's.
Shabba Ranks was there. That's crazy.
Shabba. That's crazy.
So there's a lot of interesting things going on. Okay, so but you didn't know much about Woodstock 99, period. Right?
No, and so MTV gave me like, hey, look at us. Like that's when I was like, oh, it seemed like an MTV thing. And I didn't know that's what it was supposed to be.
Fair enough.
I thought it was supposed to be something different.
Yeah, Mike, what was your recollection at the time when it was happening?
Oh, dude, I thought the shit was fucking hilarious. It was incredible. It was fucking incredible. I mean, so in 94, I was like, this super punk kid. So there was no fucking way I wanted anything to do with a Woodstock festival. I thought the shit was stupid. But 99, like I said, I was already in, metal bands and shit. And I remember I had friends who were fucking hyped about 99 because it was for people like that, for like dude bros, this was the perfect festival. It was a bunch of like super aggro, fucking rowdy ass, like, no offense, but just like white aggro groups.
Pieces of shit.
You know what I'm saying? So like my friends in high school that I barely talk to anymore because I'd already graduated, they were like, oh, dude, you going to Woodstock 99? I'm like, fuck no, why would I do that? So when I'm hearing afterwards, they're like, yeah, so there was no water and it was really hot and like there were a bunch of fights. And I was like, what the fuck did you expect? Of course there were fights and it was hot and it sucked.
And that's why I didn't tune in, because that's why I lost tune, because when I didn't think dude bros, because it was Woodstock. So I'm just being naive thinking the 94.
To the branding, to the consistent branding they had built over 30 years. Right.
So the MTV halo, that's what threw me, because I didn't think they went kind of hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was just festival stuff, which is, like we mentioned, it's those lineups, but not MTV. Like, I'm not blaming them, but that element really turned it into like its own beast outside of the Woodstock brand, even more to me. More so.
There's one thing that the documentary didn't cover, because I vividly remember this. This was MTV's fault. Like, MTV was tied to this shit hand in fucking hand. And the second the rapes and shit started happening, they were like, oh, we have nothing to do with this. But those motherfuckers were promoting that shit for the longest time. Like, that shit wouldn't have popped off if Kurt Loder and I forget the other guy with the fucking saggy face.
John Norris?
Yeah, John Norris. If those dudes weren't fucking promoting this shit, it wouldn't have popped off like that.
Oh, yeah.
But
and the documentary shows how quickly they turned on a dime. Because Kurt Loder, this is what I remember. Like, Kurt Loder was giving like the updates, and he was the one rolling around. Oh, there's a fire over here. He was updating like everything that was jacked up. So when and think about it, like, so I'm in my 20s at this point, but the MTV remember when Kurt Loder show would come on, dun dun dun, right? That sound. It was like inside
he was like Edward R. Murrow.
And everybody,
that's the beginning of Peace Cells.
Wearing the black shirt. And he's like, Woodstock 99, I just escaped a fire and they were throwing things at the MTV. Like, he was like upping this chaos, this ensuing chaos. Yes, but it was like he wasn't reporting that Jewel had a good set, or he didn't say any. I don't remember him reporting like anybody having like a good set. I remember him reporting like the upcoming tragedies. So like they were playing it like as a tragic play or whatever. Once they realized that they weren't going to be the darlings for throwing the thing, I think they wanted that praise, and it was turning sour on them in the moment. So that's when I think they turned.
So Alaska, what was your thing at the time? So you were 39. Tell us your
He's like, these damn kids and they damn music.
He's like, well, after I cashed out my 401k, I tuned in, and
it was like, I was like working by then and shit. I was like, I didn't even think about it until I saw it on the news. I was like, yeah, how about that? Like that was like literally my reaction. Like I didn't have any thoughts about it. I didn't give a shit about any of the
folded
bands
your
on
Wall
there.
Street Journal.
I didn't give a shit about any of it. I was just like, I was like going about living my life. By then, like I tuned out almost completely. Right. So yeah, I didn't really give a fuck about it. I mean, Woodstock 94, I didn't even give a fuck about it. The only reason I know about it is because my brother went. Oh, and like I remember him talking about like fucking mud, bro, and Green Day. But he was like just constantly hallucinating on things at that time in his life. So, but I had no opinion. I thought all those bands fucking sucked. I hated all those bands. Nice. And I didn't really care about it. And then I was just like, it's on fire. I was like, yeah, look at this fucking lineup and look at the people that are gonna get that. Like they make juggalos look smart.
He said it's on fire. Yeah, what did you expect?
Yeah. Like I kind of like Mike. I was like, it's fucking stupid.
The only thing I wanted to see there, dude, I wanted to see Rage Against the Machine really bad. And I wanted to see Alanis Morissette. I was like, if I could just go and see both of those groups and leave, I'd be totally fine with it. But that was just not, that wasn't possible. But the reason one of y'all was talking about, he wasn't reporting on Jewel having a good set. The reason he didn't do that is because Jewel didn't have a good set. But it's not because of Jewel. It's not because of Jewel. Like, I don't even know why the fuck they booked her. Like, all of those other groups, ICP, Metallica, Limp Bizkit, you know what I'm saying? Rage. Why the fuck are you trying to squeeze poor Jewel and Alanis Morissette in this mess? And they didn't want to be there.
I think they were trying to get the girls in. And if you look at all of the nights, they put the female act right before it starts, the Rage section, and right before sundown. I noticed in the footage they tried to get the girls up there with the dusk, and then once it got night, Anthony Kiedis and them were like, all right, let's burn this place down.
You know what I heard though? I heard that the women that played it, and I don't know if this is a fact, but I used to have some friends who worked in the quote unquote industry back then. I thought they were fucking lame then too, because I was like, who cares? But they were telling me that a lot of the women performers requested to play before the sun went down because they played and they fucking bounced. None of them stuck around. Right. The same shit that I hate that I have to fucking agree with Moby because he's a fucking douche. But he did what all of the smart artists did. They showed up, they did their little performance, they got their check, and they fucking left. All of them saw what, I had a buddy that was, when they were showing the guys with the security.
Yes, the yellow shirts. Yes.
Peacekeepers, whatever the fuck.
The peacekeepers. Pieces of ass keepers. I had a friend who did that shit, and he was telling me all of this stuff.
Wow.
And he was like, none of those artists stuck around. The only ones that stuck around were the ones that you expect to, like Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And all of that shit.
Yeah, they wanted to go there and get fucking wasted, hopefully get their dick sucked, and then watch all of the mayhem that happens.
So let me ask y'all this. Let me ask the panelists. Has anybody experienced like an overnight type festival? Has anybody gone through that, performed at one, gone to one?
I toured the Vans Warped Tour, but it wasn't an overnight festival. But it was like...
But it was that type of numbers and that type of people. That might, in terms of...
It wasn't Woodstock numbers, but it was like, it was a giant festival, like a roving festival,
So I did one. It was like the Treefort Festival, but not in the sense that we drove on a dirt road and then we went to this clearing and it was tents and people there, and it was like little mini stages around. It wasn't like a big one, but everybody was hunkered down for the night. I'll put it down. Tents in the various areas. And I remember we did, and there's a little 45-minute set. Okay. Now, if anybody knows me, it was an hour and a half. And if anybody knows me, 30 minutes is way too long to be on stage. But it was like a mixture. It was my man Rock Bottom who actually booked the show, so I was there. Rock Bottom was there. His material. My man John Zapp was there. Bear was there. So there was a bunch of MCs and other mixed artists. I think even Elena was there. So we mixed in our like thing for an hour and a half. But man, but it was just interesting because it's one of those things you're performing with people that are essentially kind of sitting down because they're there for the night. Yeah. So they don't really have to rush to the front or be too attentive. They just kind of can let the music waft over. So then that makes you choose what you do in this hour and a half differently. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing no big rowdy song in minute 10 when I still, I gotta be on stage. But that was the only one I've done. And then we left like mad early. We finished and then we just got in the van, left like in the middle of the night, early morning type thing.
But so yeah, I've been to shows like that where there's like a ton of acts on a bill and you're at a big space with dueling stages and you gotta pick and choose who you're gonna see. Like I went to one like a Pimlico racetrack in Baltimore where it was like Flaming Lips, The Who, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Gnarls Barkley. So you're like back and forth, like who do I see? You go over there. Like I think like the Vivian Girls played or something like that. Mm-hmm. When you watch the documentary, like being on that Air Force base, like everything about what they were trying to do to make sure no one broke in was the actual design of the space was already guaranteed to piss people off. Mm-hmm. So regardless of who played that night, if it was just a Lilith Fair 2, people would have been ornery and annoyed because you're on that hot asphalt, like literally in the middle of July in upstate New York.
Yep.
And you also know, having 300,000 to 400,000 people, things aren't going to go as planned with the restrooms, like all of this. Like you have
with days ahead of you, not 8-hour concert. There's 2 or 3 days ahead of you when you start.
72 hours
when you start this experience. Yes.
Right. So everything needs to be airtight, right? And then on top of that, it's like $4 for a water.
Wow, that's
bro. Back in 1999, I was making probably $5.75, $6 an hour working in a pizza.
So I feel like in '99, people were still new to the idea of having to buy water.
Yes,
like it wasn't like it is right now. Where
that's a great point.
Like the idea of drinking tap water is like, oh.
Now, all right, but they did say, and this is the documentary.
They didn't have Brita filters. We weren't banging with Brita yet.
They did say they had water stations. My thing is
taking showers in there.
Why would you take a shower in the water station? You know it's a water station. It's not like confused with different languages and stuff,
right?
Exactly.
It's a bunch. It's fucking like Jackass. It's the Jackass fucking generation.
Yep.
Like people that just want to like gross each other out and make each other try to laugh by being dickheads.
All right, I got to talk to y'all about this because this is the racial.
All right, why don't we take our first break?
We'll take our first break.
This is a good place we're going to go to. Yeah. Let's take our first break. We got Myke C-Town, Call Out Culture, Zilla Rock, Curly Castro, Alaska, talking Woodstock 99. We'll be back.
Did we introduce ourselves?
What was it called? Was it called Pink Mustang 2.0?
Pink Horsepower 2.0.
Brought to you by Pink Horsepower 2.0. Go to Harlem and
get you some.
Rock hard.
Placata.
Yo, peace, people. It's Prem Rock. Just wanted to hop on and tell you about my new album, Load Bearing Crow's Feet. Out now, everywhere on Backwoods Studios. Shouts to the Wrecking Crew. Shouts to Call Out Culture. Shouts to Willie Green. Shouts to Billy Woods at Backwoods Studios. Shouts to Shrapnel. Shouts to Brain Orchestra, Denmark Vesey, Messiah Music, Small Professor, Fresh Kills, Willie Green, myself, everyone that handled the beats, everyone that delivered the rhymes. AJ Suede, Henry Canyons, Castro Zilla, Fielded and Lucid. And Marcus Pinn on the cuts. Dr. Quandary on the art. Pick it up wherever you pick up music. Thank you. Peace. The shortest story ever fraught with blues, and no less true.
We're back. Hopefully you went out and bought yourself some reliable gas station dick pills on our break. All right, Myke C-Town's here again. Call Out Culture Podcast. Curly Castro wants to bring up.
Yeah, I gotta bring race into this. So I played on a basketball team in my youth up until like my teenage years, right? And I had certain teammates. Now, basketball teammates, it's not racially specific, right? But there's a certain type of gym guy and basketball guy, right? So there's the serious one doing all the drills, kind of keeps himself. There's the people in between, the teammate guys, the coach's kid. Then there's this guy who, when you drink water, he's trying to stick his finger in your ass. Or he's like, yes, okay. Or he's always with a towel and popping you. And these homoerotic like games that if this stuff is so funny, fart jokes, burp jokes, like all of this stuff is so funny, but only he really thinks it's funny. Everybody else is not engaged in the funny. And I'm not, and I told him once, yo, don't try to put your finger in my ass when I go for this water, because I'm not playing with you, Roberto. This motherfucker used to bother me, yo. First of all, he used to call me Sigourney Weaver. I had curly hair. So that was his joke. He was like, "Yo, Sigourney, shut up." Right? He used to always be on me about being Sigourney Weaver because I had this curly afro over there. And I'm like, God damn, why couldn't you call me a yes? All right, so when I was younger, the joke was, you know, Castro, I'm not saying my government, but Castro was Ronald McDonald because I had a curly fro. It was like Ronald McDonald's, right? It looked just like that, yo. I can't even hide it. But this guy,
you also wore a lot of red and yellow.
I did. But this guy, he was determined to change it to, yo, Sigourney Weaver, shut up and pass me the ball, right?
Oh, man.
Because Sigourney Weaver had the shortcut and it was fat. It was alien all that time, right? But this guy, he was so, you know, making these jokes and tickling your under, like all of this weird. I wasn't with
then
that.
He went on to form Limp Bizkit with his 3 friends in Tampa.
So that's why I got
West Borland.
So that type of guy,
right?
Isn't that this type of dude, bro, guy? Isn't this the pro mag angry guy with the hat?
I want to hear Mike's take, and then the last.
Isn't that this guy that frequent this concert? Isn't this the same guy? This is the same guy, right?
Get him,
it's
Mike.
one of those guys. It's one of many different versions. Because there's also like the guy that hangs out in front of the deli and tries to buy beer for high school kids. That guy. There's also like the frat bro who like gets really rapey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly that guy.
Mostly
there's a lot of that guy.
Mostly that guy.
Mostly that guy. Yeah. And then there's
who
like,
happens
you know,
to have
sort of like
just
the dudes that like grew up in like rural areas that never stood a chance, like just basically like rural areas affected by poverty, and this is like the best thing that's going to happen to them in their entire life. They're going to fuck up some people along the way if they can as well.
Correct.
But it's
so like hanging out in 7-Eleven parking lots, like that type of, is that the gathering spot because it's rural? Like
yeah, I mean, no, not even, because they don't even have that. They're just like, you know, they kind of maybe will go to like the mall 3 towns over and like fuck with people that work at Hot Topic or something. I don't know.
So the documentary puts a lot of emphasis on these type of guys as being the main people at this festival in particular. So me and Zillow on the phone, and we can divert from the racial dress real quick. So what is going on? And I wanted to tell, I don't want Mike jumping this. The fitted. The documentary.
My first note is the hat wear.
So the documentary makes note of these backwoods cats that they were wearing as picking up from Fred Durst's style at the time.
Okay.
What the fuck was up?
I think it's like an evolution of the Cox hat.
Yes. Or like
but you know, like the frat bro Cox hat.
It's at South Carolina
like
Cox.
South Carolina Cox. And they wear it and be all frayed up at first, like the Hootie and the Blowfish hat.
Yes.
Okay, because
it's like the evolution to the angry, like I'm gonna wear the New York fitted.
So Bong, that's what I'm asking you, Alaska. What was your hat style preference when you were rocking fitteds? What did you do?
I just wore a Red Sox hat. I didn't do anything to it.
Oh, whatever. All right, so me, I had a whole.
I was never like.
Robert, fair enough. I had a whole brim science. It was a certain way. I bent the brim to make it hung, and I tilted my hat. I know it's dark in the room. I tilted my hat a little bit, 15 degrees to the left. Yeah. Z, how did you rock your hat?
I had the green FUBU Flex Fit tilted a little bit also. Askew, askance. It was a scance.
Mike, did you rock fitted? Did you cop a fitted? You let
no. If I wore hats, I was wearing trucker hats back then.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought they were cool. I mean, I was wrong, but I thought they were cool.
There's a lot more ventilation in trucker hats.
I mean,
I have a giant head too, so like I can only wear a certain style of hat a certain way. Otherwise,
I'm a 7 3/4 myself. So like, fitted was important in the sense that one, I couldn't let nobody steal that hat because I had to buy a certain size, so I can't let nobody take my hat. And New York, it was big about the fitteds first, and then the New York fitted secondly. So I remember when Fred Durst was coming with the hat. And Zig put me on to something. I didn't even know that was a New York hat because that was like one of those first alternate color city hats.
Funk Flex would rock that shit. Yeah.
Right. And so I just thought me and Z talked about this. The hat culture, Ken Griffey Jr. putting the hat backwards, batting and stuff like that. People got fitted so they could wear them backwards because they didn't want the size adjusting thing. That wasn't a style unless you had some hair to pull through it. Unless you could make it cool. It wasn't that cool yet to have
snapbacks got phased out.
Snapback, right?
But here's what's interesting about the Woodstock '99 crowd, and this is what we were talking about, like the kind of dude, bro, aggro dipshits. They would have, the fitted on backwards with like the insignia of, the Texas Longhorns or the fucking whatever the thing was. But the point was, this is where like Moby, again, smug asshole, but he made a distinction about the deviation that these guys like wanted to dip their toe in rap centric things, but not be in a rap world where like you needed to have the Locks tape and the K-Slay tape and the Clue tape. You're like, oh, I like the fitted hat shit, but not like how Mace wears a fitted hat.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like Mace wears it one time. The next time you see Mace, he's got a blue one, he's got a green one, he's got a white one, he's got a gray one. These dudes were like, and I grew up around these dudes as well. And in person, I probably spent 20 grand of my life on hats. I love hats, right? My thing was, because I'm a hip hop person, every time you saw me, I'm not going to wear the same hat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? That's just not, I don't feel right doing that. But my homies who did have the fitteds during that time, they would have one Atlanta Braves hat, and you saw them that every day for 3 years.
Wow.
Fitted. You see what I'm saying? But it was fitted hat, and it was on backwards, and they'd be smoking their cigarettes, listening to Metallica, doing whatever, right? So the hat was the indicator to me, even back then, of like, oh, like your hat is like some MTV TRL hip hop distant bastard relative Corn Limp Bizkit dude. You know what I mean? Like, because you're wearing a fitted, but it's the only fitted you have, and it's got sweat stains on it and shit. Like, it's not about being fresh,
right?
It's about like having a hat that you live in.
Signifier. Codified.
It's a signifier. So yeah, I know, Mike, you're about to say something on it.
I was gonna when you were talking about the type of people that go to those things, I was gonna jump in, like when you're talking about the people that stick their thumbs up people's asses and all that shit. Like that was me and my friends, and we weren't going to that. Like that was something
that humor just, it lost me. I get it. I think it was just one of those things, like we would do it because it was like it would piss other people off more than it would really actually make us mad. Like if we're standing around and my homeboy just walks up and he just smacks me in the nuts, it's all funny to us. Willies. But like I didn't do wet willies and shit. But that was the people that actually bullied me and beat me up. Those are the ones who would do like a guy tried to purple nerf me, and I said, "Look, I don't even know your name." Right. So like I had to just stop it there. Like you're reaching for my nipple. Some of these things you got to think about before that. But you know what, Mike? I wasn't I got bullied in middle school, so I stopped. I didn't get into the pranking of like other kids, like tripping or like that type of stuff was like left field for me personally. So that's why
we only did it to each other,
indeed.
I would never do it to anybody else, but there was definitely, if you're at a punk rock show, at some point, someone's going to fucking thumb your ass. That's just how things go. You have to either get used to it or just don't be there. But I think that those fests were more so, they were jocks. And they were those types of jocks that discovered like certain types of rap that made them comfortable. Like Cypress Hill made them very comfortable. Yeah. That's why, like when you watch that video, was it Moby that made the point about or it was a black dude, but I don't know who he was.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I remember him.
He made the point that I think was actually the case, which was, these were a lot of white kids who liked they liked some of the sonics that came with hip hop, and they liked some of the aesthetics that came with hip hop, but they didn't like anything else, especially the black people that came with hip hop. They didn't like any of that shit. At my school, when I was in high school, there were all of these rednecks and the jocks, the kids who used to chase us all the time. And when Chronic was really popular, all of those dudes had that in their trucks. And I'm talking about the pick 'em up trucks with the huge wheels. They rolling down the street smoking Nando. That was them. They love that shit.
This is what I noticed. They would dabble in hip hop, but not investigate the nuance. So anything that was R&B tinge, they didn't like that.
No.
Anything that was like higher poetical, they didn't like that either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was the visceralness of like gangster raps. It was like, and also peep game, y'all. Gangster rap was simple in its earliest form. Too Short was very easy to remember, memorize, and go with. And I remember when
same with Snoop.
But Alaska, I just brought him as an example of gangster rap was way easier to memorize than native tongue. Yeah. And when you can pick up a song, whether you like that genre or not, you're gonna be more inclined, like something that's catchy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Your mom might, oh, that's catchy. She don't even know what type of song it is. My mom loves the whisper song. Tells me why you didn't come up.
It's more than that, though. It's more than that. To me, what it is gangster rap fits their narrative of what Black people are way more than anything else. So it worked for them. So when they would listen to things like Dr. Dre, where all he talked about was smoking weed and fucking women, that made sense. If they would listen to stuff like DMX, that's why so many white kids love DMX. Because he was loud, he was aggressive, he had a dog, he was buff, didn't wear a shirt, he talked like this. That's how they thought all Black folks were. Cypress Hill, same shit. All they talk about is smoking weed. Well, we like smoking weed, cool. Right. They're not going to listen to anything that's actually uplifting. They're not going to put on fucking Dell the Funky. They're not going to do that. Right. But when they discovered that, oh, there's this Kid Rock guy.
Yeah.
He's almost a redneck, but he also raps, and there's rock too.
Yes.
Perfect. This was a breeding ground for those type of people that really didn't like Black people, but they sort of liked what we created, and they especially liked their version of what we created. Like all of those motherfuckers were in my school.
Damn.
So
the irony with Kid
Rock. Can I throw a monkey
Kid
wrench
Rock,
into this conversation real quick?
We'll get the Kid Rock. We'll do a Kid Rock block.
I just want to do real quick. The Kid Rock thing, I think, is so ironic just because of how Alaska, right? When he started, he was super hip hop, right? Doing scratching routines, high top,
balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth,
doing the 4 element type of act. But then as soon as he got this fame, he let all that go. Alaska.
I was gonna say, like, what we're talking about with that specific audience who like found this niche of rap that they loved, where they didn't actually have to engage in the culture.
Yes,
I think there's a very similar element of that in like the mid 2000s indie hip hop as well.
100%.
Okay.
Get them.
So meaning like
we've talked about that before.
Yes, but they didn't have to. They didn't have to indulge in the culture. Can you expound, like people that?
Well, yeah, they didn't want to engage in any other aspect of hip hop. They're like, this is the pure hip hop. This is what I want. It's like, it's this thing that I understand. I don't have to actually hear other people's points of view.
Right.
It's this sort of thing that mirrors back to me and reflects this worldview I have. And it might have been like a little bit more of a highbrow version of that audience, maybe, because they were going for something that had like a bit more lyrical and musical skill to it, maybe. But it was still that same sort of mindset of like, this is the box that I want to be in. And like, if you're not part of this box, this isn't the real shit. And anything that's outside of this is fake, even if it's like,
So Zilla or anybody on the panel, enlighten me to now, what are these rock rap groups of this era? How are they siphoning these type of fans? What are they doing that's making them so alluring to these type of cats?
Here's my notes. Ready? Because at 99, I was 17, right? And I was, this can tie into the MTV shit, right? Because they're definitely guilty in this. MTV at the time was breeding tribalism, right? Because MTV would do early on in the 80s, it was all rock. Didn't play any Black people, right? Then then Michael Jackson elevated the genre of music videos and they started playing Black artists, which is well documented. Then you would have like Yo MTV Raps that would only come on like Fridays at whatever 3:30 or 11, whatever the hell, right?
Yeah.
Then they started having like Headbangers Ball, MTV Subterranean, Buzz Clips, Unplug. Like there were certain pockets when you would tune in if you were a certain kind of fan, right? But overall, MTV signified like an edge to it. Like we're counterculture. We are like the cool, playground to be naughty. Like that's how we get down. We're not going to play like Neil Young. We're going to play Madonna half naked and shit, right? That's
until T-R.
Right. So when TRL hits, and it's like, basically
it
like
was before
40,
TRL.
right? But
It was well before TRL. Even all of those shows
Mhm.
were versions of TRL prior to that. It started as this thing that was like, here's this fresh new music that's going on.
Mhm.
And then it was
Right.
like, let us
Yep.
feed you what we think that you should like of this music. It was
But
never
great
like
point.
a pure thing the way we like to nostalgia.
No.
No.
Right.
But I meant the TRL was that tipping point because that countdown thing
right.
made the competition a certain
Yes.
way, and then they pitted the burgeoning edgy artists against
Boy bands.
super pop. Yeah.
Against aggro rock, right? And that was at the time like the biggest place to see someone blow up was on TRL, right? Like that, and the industry at the time, Alaska, you were on the outer edges of it. Like everyone's printing money. These motherfuckers are shipping 2 billion CDs a year and getting them off, right?
Yeah.
And so when you get to that stage of it, and then TRL's like the cultural nadir, where you have like Ja Rule fans calling and voting against O-Town fans and 98 Degrees fans voting against the Offspring fans. Everyone's like hunkering down even harder to where like when I was in high school every day at that time, there was a kid who sat at the desk before me before classes. He would write Korn. I would cross that shit out and draw the Wu-Tang logo. The next day I would come back, he would cross out the Wu-Tang logo, draw Korn, right? That was just the shit.
Y'all getting buffed. Right? You're buffing each other.
Y'all were buffing each other, right? But the whole point was where everyone's plugging in and voting against whoever, because I'm Olympus. They're gonna beat Everclear today. No, they're gonna beat Backstreet Boys and all that shit, right? Everyone's doubling down, like my shit's better. But this is also the emergence of all the teen pop, like Christina Aguilera, Mandy Moore, Jessica Simpson. They all had like a 1 or 2 year run at that time, even though they're not in Woodstock. But like all that shit's happening versus if you wanted to be an aggro dickhead, dude, your band probably wasn't on 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Like they were on at that time whenever that show would be on. They would have all those shows, right? So putting them all together was great because everyone's like battling with each other. So then when you get to this point now of 99 where like the tipping point hits, like the one thing they didn't say in the documentary was Eminem. Eminem is a big part of this story. Like he's a huge part because he was the biggest person being like, fuck you, women could suck. He was doing all that shit. He was down with Limp Bizkit. He was down with all these people. He was down with Kid Rock at the time back then. He just didn't perform at Woodstock 99. But he was
he down with them? I don't think he was ever down with
There's not. He
was down with Limp Bizkit.
He was down with them. There's not much music, but yeah, they used to be around each other. I remember
because they were the kings of they were the kings of industry back then. Like he might have dissed them at some point, but they were also rallying against like fucking Backstreet Boys are pussies, bro.
Yep.
I want to fuck Britney. Me too, bro. I want to jizz on her tits.
Wait. Limp Bizkit was in the Real Slim Shady video next to the fake Britney.
Yeah, they were.
You're right. Yeah.
They had a full relationship. You don't remember when M like did that diss song "Girls" about Limp Bizkit?
No, I don't remember that joint.
One of them. He used to do a lot of those B-side disses.
Yeah, he would always.
There's a chunk of him.
Fruit.
It was when he was battling Everlast.
Everlast.
Oh, when he was battling Everlast. Okay.
Yeah, they were all tight with each other. And M, and yeah, man, it was like a big thing. But M was definitely down with Fred Durst. They were super tight.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right.
Kid Rock was a dude from Detroit that at least quote unquote made it to some degree, even though he got dropped from Jive when he was a rapper. But when him swinging back around again, getting fame, like he blew up locally to get that deal again for that album, whatever it called, Rebel Without a Pause.
Yep.
So like Eminem is still in the breeding. So like they're aware.
He's in the
of
mix.
each other.
He's in the mix. Yeah, I agree with you. He's in the mix. He
right?
just wasn't that.
And he was carrying that too of like the rebellious, like thumb up my nose, fuck you guys, you're corny. But I'm saying MTV created the common enemy of all the teen pop shit to make all these dudes get douchier about everything, to be like, we're all aligned against knocking out 98 Degrees and LFO and all this bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like they kickstarted that whole thing. I don't even remember the question anymore, but that's just the thing I thought.
No, you're still on.
They were feeding into the whole idea of privileged white kids being angry about nothing.
Yes.
It was if you really look at it, it was pretty fucking smart. Because I mean, when I was like a teenager, and I was like a punk kid or whatever, we had like this idea that we were supposed to be pissed off all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone actually broke down why we should be pissed off, it fucking made sense. These kids really had no reason to be mad. Most of them had money. Most of them got all of the, you know, quote unquote hot girls in school. They had no real reason to be mad, but MTV was moving in this direction where they're like, well, we can kind of like capitalize on this fake outrage thing with these like white kids.
So they made it into a style?
They basically, yeah. Because I mean, if you look at it, all of those groups, even if you put Rage Against the Machine into that bucket, you know, even though I still love them, but if you can put them into that bucket, they were feeding this shit to the people that Rage Against the Machine was speaking about, you know. But and MTV knew that, but they knew that these kids were too stupid to figure that shit out.
Right.
All these kids wanted to do was fucking go out there and rage. Why?
Yep.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The same reason they fucking picked on the nerd in school. You know, that it doesn't matter why they're pissed off, as long as they're pissed off and they're fucking spending money. That's all it was. But yeah, I mean, I watched this shit go down for fucking years, man, because MTV was the whole reason that, like, I remember when I was in 9th and 10th grade and I was a punk kid, dyeing my fucking hair green and shit. And all the kids in school were fucking picking on me, chasing me down the hall, all types of shit. And I remember when fucking Green Day and the Offspring and all that shit got popular. I was in like, I want to say either 10th or 11th grade. And all of a sudden, all these dudes thought I was cool. And I was like, what? Like, you were literally calling me, you know, the FAGGOT word last week. You're fucking, you know what I mean? You're slapping me in the back of the head. You're fucking giving me fucking heart checks, all this shit. But now I'm cool. But like MTV, all they did was they just picked up on what are white kids flocking towards. Where's the angst? You know, the whole Nirvana angst didn't last that long.
No,
because it was too progressive.
I was gonna say that was too much.
It wasn't
wearing a dress all day. He was wearing dresses all day, painting his nails and shit. He didn't give a fuck. Kurt didn't.
But there was money in that though, right? They was,
but it ran out, right? It only that kind of shit only worked for certain people. Like the jocks only liked a couple fucking Nirvana songs, but once they saw someone that looked like them and that acted like them, Fred Durst, they were like, "Oh, this is perfect.
All right,
fucking perfect."
Yes. He and Kid Rock are the perfect distillate. Well, I really want to, like, after our break, I want to just talk about them specifically. Alaska, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry, man.
I don't even remember.
You don't even remember because
dynamite
content every week.
Before we hit break, I want to go into this thing. And Mike, I want you to chime in, my fellow melanated brother. What was your feeling during the DMX call and response portion? Like, just like, I'm watching it, right? And for the listeners, we're talking about DMX had this crowd hypnotized, like Geppetto and Pinocchio.
Probably the only good thing that happened. That whole thing
had them on a string. He could have made them do anything. He could have made them stand on their shoulders, do backflips. He could have made them do jumping jacks all together, army jumping jacks. Yep. He decides to pick a song. I can't remember the song now, but the song has a call and response with the my niggas. It's back and forth. In my nigga, right? Yeah. And so there's about 100 to 300,000 raging white children, literally children, that must have been dying for somebody to give them the pass to say it with impunity. And DMX, one of the leading people in the industry, is giving them that pass by engaging in the call and response, knowing that they will respond.
Right.
So here's my take on that, right? I think you're giving them too much credit by thinking they even know what a pass is. Those motherfuckers did not care at all. I
agree.
Those dudes say nigger all, trust me, like those dudes, nigger is a table time word.
Yep.
So they don't even think about, oh, well, I need a black person to give me a pass to say this shit. I've been to Odd Future concerts. Those motherfuckers say it like it ain't shit. And they'll say it right next to me and be looking at me like, yeah. And I'm like, why the fuck am I here? Like those dudes, they did that shit because that's what they do when they're in their car. It was normal to them
at the house party.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that's what I've come to find out that yes, that's prominent. not even get into the blackface parties that I've seen.
Like, yo, bro, if they're gonna say it, like I'll say it.
I can say it in
the album.
I can say it in the song is the easiest little trick that they try to do. Like, hey, they say it in the song. I'm just repeating the song. But Mike, do you think DMX knew?
Do I think what?
X knew. Do you think X knew what he was doing?
Man, that is a question that I've seriously wondered for the past fucking 15 years. I don't know. Because a lot of people will try to act like, well, DMX was setting him up. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't setting him up. I don't think DMX thought that way. Okay. I think DMX probably just played a set list that he's used to playing and just didn't even think about it that deeply. But does it bother me? I mean, at this point in my life, not really, because I've been through it. Like when Alaska was talking about fucking indie rap shows, I heard more nigga from white dudes at indie rap shows than anywhere else. So that shit didn't bother me. I was just like, that's fucking par for the course. It is what it is.
But it was interesting to me to see that wave because I seen that clip of him rocking that show, but obviously they don't play that part. So
I've seen that already. Yeah,
that was my first time seeing it, and I was like, the power of that. Wow, because I know what it would feel like with a black crowd. I wouldn't even flinch. That would just be, song 3. But to see it, but the excitement that I saw from some of those white kids, like finally out in the open, outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I also think it was the excitement of seeing DMX, who was the biggest rapper, period, that year. That wasn't Eminem. And then, like we're saying, those dudes buying those 2 albums that went number 1, and his first 5 albums all went number 1.
Yep.
Then saying it at the house party, then saying it and the football game when they're practicing, basketball game practicing, lifting weights, playing DMX, because like Mike said, he's the aggro, super hyper masculine, steely dude. Like them dudes weren't playing The Prayer and Damien and all that shit. You know what I mean? It was like fucking get at me, dog, stop being greedy, flesh in my flesh, all that shit, right? To get you jacked up, to go fuck somebody up or whatever. So I feel like that crowd, that felt natural to them because like Mike said, they went to DMX for that. Like that side of him. Not the other sides where he talks about struggling, robbing people to eat, slipping. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that crowd really went to him for that.
They kind of navigated
even like, how's it going down? White dudes weren't banging with that shit. Or even what's the other one? Takesha, Renisha, Tanisha, Ravana. Like white dudes weren't playing that in their car. They weren't like where I'm from. They weren't playing DMX like that type of shit. They were playing the aggressive shit from DMX, like bust your head through a wall shit. And so I think like it was par for the course for them. They were there. They spend their money. They know the DMX. They already know that song. They're saying it, like you said, with impunity already in their hometown, wherever they live with all their friends. Of course they're going to say it, especially if DMX chooses to put it on the set. But I think what Mike said, I think DMX was just like, this joint is going to get people going. You know, like it's provocative. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think.
All right, boom.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
So let's hit another break. And when we come back, let's talk about the artist's responsibility to all this. The stuff that Anthony Kiedis does. The stuff that, we'll get into that.
This will be crazy.
We'll be back. Call Our Culture. Shabla.
Yeah. Double down, boy. New album, Vegas Vic, from yours truly, Zilla Rock. My first solo album since 96 Mentality. Out on Chung Wizard Records. Right now, available around the world. You can cop the digital on iTunes if you want. You can buy it for a G on Bandcamp if you're a real boss like that. However you want to get it, we got tapes, very limited, CDs also. Beautiful vinyl, all the artwork designed by PQ. Got everybody from Call Out Culture, Wrecking Crew in the mix. Album executive produced by Disco Vietnam. This joint is fly, energetic, fun. Roulette tables popping. Free drinks all night with the cherry in there. Whatever you want to get, we're doubling down. We're going to get in the car. We're riding out to America's Playground. Vegas Vic, Zilla Rock, a new album out now.
Yeah, I was really avoiding it, and these guys were like, we're going to do an episode on it.
So
I hate Bill Simmons, and I hate this style of documentary where it's like, I had a thought about something right now, and I'm going to make everything about this relate to that one thought I have about something right now. Yeah. And it's just like, it's infuriating.
No, I get that. It was definitely a very specific narrative that was spun throughout the entire thing. So when I was watching it, I was just like, bro, like a lot of this shit is total trash. I wasn't there, but But like I said, I knew dudes who went, and they had no reason to lie about what was going down there. There were definitely a lot more than 10 rapes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
jeez.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's that crazy part, yo.
oh.
But I mean, that's the part that I was just like, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's the shit that was so wild to me, were people that were actually pretending to be surprised. And I'm like, you got thousands upon thousands of aggro, horny white dudes. Well, just dudes in general. It doesn't have to be race specific, but just aggro dudes. Yeah, in this one it is, because
this particular case it is.
Yeah, it is. Because they're like, those kind of kids are not used to being told no by anyone.
Yeah, by anyone, yeah.
You know? So they go to a fest and there's a woman there that feels like showing her tits for whatever reason. Of course, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you're telling me I can fuck you." Like,
this is an invite.
That's how it works, isn't it?
My theory was, this is what got it fucked up. If you go to Ozfest, if you go to the cock rock shows, if you go to Rock the Bells and all that shit, right? Those brands are not associated with peace, freedom, walking naked in mud, American flag, body paint. Happy face symbols, right? The women that were going to Woodstock 99 had the idea, based on Woodstock 69, Woodstock 94, that you can have, some Birkenstocks on and your tits out with paint on it, because we're just being free, right? The dudes who were going there, like Mike said, were like, I'm going to see fucking Rage, fucking Megadeth, fucking Metallica, the fucking Peppers. This bitch got her titties out. She wants to fuck.
Why did you sound like Serengeti when you said the Peppers?
Fucking Peppers. But I'm saying, like, it was the branding. Like, again, Moby's a turd, but he pointed out, like, the bill, and he was pointing out, like, oh, no one knows who these people are. Why the fuck are they here? But also, it's like, yes, having dudes that are about that rage and that angst and shit next to women that are like, I came to sit in the sun with my titties out, not shave my armpits, and live off the land or whatever, because that's the nature. My mom went to Woodstock. My older sister went to Woodstock 94. She just hit the hacky sack with her titties out. It was great. You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that was their potential, their idea of what it was, versus like, I haven't been to Ozfest, but like, you're not going to Ozfest with your titties out, painting an American flag and, smiley faces on them and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's like that hippie culture shit from back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to Rock the Bells with your titties out. It doesn't. It doesn't associate that way. So. And
those other fests are different types of people. Like, if you did go to Ozfest and decide to whip your tits out, the odds of something nefarious happening to you is not nearly as high as something like a fucking Woodstock 94. Like, if somebody goes to Coachella and walks around with their breasts out the whole time, I bet you probably she'll be fine. Right. She'll be fine, because it's the type of people. But that fest knew that they were fucking catering to these types of dudes. That's why when they interviewed that organizer, he was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are exaggerating how many rapes there were. There was only like 7."
Listen to that.
Talk about that dude for a minute, though.
All right.
Like, to me, like, we've been blaming like MTV, blaming the bands. That dude is who deserves all the fucking blame.
He's a piece of shit.
That dude's a fucking piece of shit, money grubbing scumbag. Yep. He created this fucking environment, basically created a prison to hold everybody in.
For a couple of days.
Overcharged them for everything. Didn't supply everything enough. Did not provide them with the basic necessities. Got fucking defensive when anybody ever questioned him about that shit.
That was
like,
wild.
he had a right to do this. This is my right to do this. Like, that dude was the biggest scumbag on the planet. Even his partner knew, like, I'm not gonna get involved in this because we fucked up. Like, you could tell he had actual regret. His partner seemed like he had regret.
Homeboy that organized the first joint, the dude in the motorcycle, the billowing hair, that dude.
The motorcycle guy, that's him.
Yeah.
But the other guy was
blaming John Shear or whatever his name was.
Yeah, the other guy was just blaming
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, he was a scumbag too.
He's a fucking scumbag. We're just back from a break. Fuck it. I wanted to say this, right? Here, all right. Here's the angel on top of the Christmas tree. All this shit. The Limp Bizkit Kid Rock angle. All right. So I remember when all that was happening, when all that music was hitting, I bought the Limp Bizkit album, Significant Other, for the Method Man joint, right? Because the premiere beat to me, still an amazing premiere beat. Like,
still one of the great premiere
that
beats.
beat
I
is
give
fire,
you that.
right?
Yes.
And back then, again, this is right before Napster, the biggest point of the industry, no singles. You got to buy the whole CD to get the one joint. I did, right? And I remember, again, Korn having a fucking tagging hate fest going back and forth, bombing on this dude in school. But I remember the dudes in my school that like Korn had their hair real long, stitched on the backpack, hunched over, pale ass dudes, right? Fucking with Korn. And then when you had Kid Rock, it was like, he was like, even Ba with a Ba. That hook is some 80s block party shit. Ba with a Ba, the bang, diggy, diggy. You know what I mean? But none of his fans know that shit. None of them, right? And so before when we were scheduling this call, I was like, I want to go back because number one, I never listened to Korn in my life ever. I just knew the singles. Two, I owned the Limp Bizkit album, but I haven't listened to them in 20 years. So I played the Korn joint, Follow the Leader, and then I skimmed through the Limp Bizkit first 3 albums, right? The Korn album, and again, you guys might know this might not be news to you. The Korn album has Ice Cube. It's got Slim Kid Trey from Farside. And then it's got a battle joint between Fred Durst and Jonathan Davis. So there's and there's like 808s on that album. They got a bass player, but then some songs just have like an 808, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know Korn's connection with hip hop, but it's on this fucking album. Mm-hmm. Like Ice Cube is like getting a nice check to rap about nothing. You know what I mean? Hitting that angry white kid demo hardcore on his record. And then Slim Kid Trey, he's actually kind of ill on the song. Like the music isn't terrible. But then when you hear Fred Durst and Jonathan Davis go back and forth, like battling each other, there's one part that's actually funny because Fred Durst makes fun of Jonathan Davis' fucked up ass teeth. But the rest of the shit is so painful. And it's just like, this is weird, man. Like, I don't understand the appeal of Korn. Maybe because someone can explain Korn to me.
There was the hip hop sensibilities into it, and some of the the scream lyrics, like Jonathan. I like their musical arrangements always would appeal to me, so I would end up like liking their songs. I told you I even got to follow the Leader or Freak on a Leash, whatever that one was with the girl in the front, because of the animated video and all that stuff. And it was just this appeal that they fit. Like I told you, I was into all of those type of groups, so they fit within those groups, even though they didn't have like a residential rapper, like would give you 8 bars, or like stupid ass Incubus DJ with the and that's all he would ever do, on any song. There was a thing to me with Portishead and how they included hip hop in their stuff. So if anybody else was doing like Portishead light with that inclusion, I would try and check in. I was like looking for another Portishead, just to be honest with you, even though nobody even came close. It was just I thought I would see the crumbs. And I go buy Stained album because I have it. I'm looking at it right now, the CD. And like Papa Roach and Puddle of Mud. Like I didn't know any better. Like Puddle of Mud,
another fitted hat backwards.
He had the fitted hat backwards.
It might even be the original fitted hat backwards group.
He was definitely heavy with the fitted hat.
The pioneers, bro.
No, Puddle of Mud was before Limp Bizkit.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were.
Nah, bro. No way.
Nah, Puddle of Mud came way later.
That's like early O's.
You know what? You might be thinking of Ugly Kid Joe because those two motherfuckers.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I'm remember. Okay. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Ugly Kid Joe. Last year, Mike, did you guys fuck with Korn or any capacity?
No.
Good. So
no, I mean, honestly, like that music was the epitome of shit to me. Like because I grew up like, I was young, like from maybe like 6th grade to 10th grade, I was really into metal. Right. And like for me, like that time was like when the big 4, and if you're not familiar with the big 4, it's like Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth were huge. Mm-hmm. So it was like all of that. Like I grew up like on Iron Maiden, and then like, what's that?
The Core 4.
The Core 4, yeah. then I got into hip hop. So it was like those groups seemed like they took the worst elements of all the music and put it together to make a shit salad. And it was awful. It was like all of that shit. Incubus sucked. Linkin Park is
watch your mouth. Don't talk
that
about
shit all
like
sucks.
that.
Whoa.
Fuck that. That shit all sucks ass. It's not good music. It's like it's real like cynical,
this is the
cash
best
grab
terrible
bullshit.
band of all time. I'm
No,
not
they're
here
not.
for
They're
that.
all
They're the
terrible.
best terrible
and I fuck
band
with
ever.
Linkin Park because there at least is some hip hop purity within.
Shinoda
No,
did
there's not.
the
There's
Styles
no
of
hip-hop
Beyond.
party.
Shinoda and Mr. Han,
No,
the bass
get
player
out
Yo,
of
guy.
here.
wait. Mike
No,
Shinoda signed Apathy,
I
self-titled.
don't care who he signed. They suck. They're garbage.
No, I
They
agree. Mike Shinoda is one of the worst rappers of all time.
No, it's
He's
fucking
terrible.
garbage music. So,
But again, I like Chester. Like I'm looking for little elements. If you have that little sprinkle, like I said, if you had that Portishead thing, I was rolling with you. Or at least I would buy that album.
Fuck with. I'd rather listen. If I'm gonna listen to a band with a DJ, I'll listen to fucking Sugar Ray. If I'm gonna listen to like that's how bad all that.
How bizarre! Dun, dun,
Put
dun.
your arms around me, baby. DJ,
But
How
I
bizarre.
thought that shit sucked. Sorry, Mike. I
DJ
cut you off.
Homicide or DJ Hurricane.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I never. Well, I can't say I never got into Korn because one of my first like heavy music concerts, I went to see Biohazard and House of Pain, and Korn opened, and no one knew who Korn was, and we were all like, "Who the fuck Korn?" And they're one. I think the R was backwards. Like, who the fuck is Korn? And it's spelled with a K. This is weird. And when they played, we were like, "Shit, this is not bad," because it was just really fucking heavy. Their first album, there was really no hip hop influence. It was very simplistic, heavy music. Again, appealing to those jock dude bros who don't want to hear instrumentation. They just want something that's pointlessly heavy. Yeah. So when I saw them, I was just like, "Oh, this band's not bad." Then I bought the CD, and the dude was yelling about, there's a song on there, I'm not a faggot, and I was like, right. I'm good on this. I'm straight. I'm not gonna listen. Not straight sexually. I'm just not gonna listen to this shit. Right.
Right. Yes.
They didn't get that hip hop element until I guess it's the album after that.
Yeah.
But I think what they were appealing to was these jocks who Metallica was too fast for them. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't like really beat people up to fucking Anthrax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Anthrax was almost all that was a response to like, because the jocks were into hair metal at that time. And like Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, all of that was a response to that shit.
Right.
So it was like the antithesis of the jock shit until much later on.
And even though the jocks didn't know that, I think they could feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they didn't know the history of why the bands played the way they played, but they could still feel like they weren't necessarily welcome in those circles.
Yeah.
Yep.
But when Korn showed up, instead of having this dude with long hair and tattoos and a big pentagram on his shirt, you have some dude in fucking Adidas sweatsuits.
Yes.
Playing heavy music. So it appealed to them.
Okay. All right. So I want to get to that. The Adidas, like the signifiers, right? So when I played the Limp Bizkit, I went through $3 bill, y'all, which originally was titled "Queer as a $3 bill," and they changed it to $3.
Really?
Bill. Correct.
Wow.
Yes. So that was going to be the name of that, right?
Cool.
Then
wait, what was it? I'm sorry.
The very first Limp Bizkit album is called $3 Bill, y'all.
Yeah.
Right? The original plan for the title was going to be called "Queer as a $3 Bill."
Okay.
And
then
see,
the
like
last-
throwing that y'all, and it
97.
makes it like hip hop-ish.
No. So then they changed it to $3 bill, and then they put y'all because they're from the South. They're like, ha ha ha, right?
Are they?
Yes, they're from Florida, which is his own country.
Florida is South, though.
Tampa or
South.
Jacksonville, whatever fucking armpit
Probably-
he's from. So, shouts to our fans in Jacksonville.
No, I got fam. My girl's family in Jacksonville.
Okay, no shots to them. All right, so I played the first 3 Limp Bizkit albums and like snippets and some full songs. The music, the actual instrumentation and music of that band is actually kind of cool. The problem is Fred Durst is like, my note was, if Monster Energy was a singer, like he is Monster Energy, the man. Like everything about people like that drink Monster Energy is like 3 cans a day. Like Fred Durst is the one, right? And all his songs are about like wanting to fight people, talking about fucking people up, which is hilarious because he would get snuffed quick, or dumping someone because she's a piece of shit, obviously, or just being like obnoxious. Like he just has songs about just doing like CKY jackass shit. Like that's his era, right? Then he has a line on the third album, Chocolate Starfish, which everything about it's repugnant. The fucking songs, the artwork is trash.
Chocolate Starfish and
the hot dog flavored water.
That's the
everything
name of
about
the
it was repug, like literally, and everything they did was on purpose to fucking like degrade everything about them. Like they picked their name like that to be repugnant. Everything was like a troll move, right? He says a line on Chocolate Starfish where he says, quote, "I've seen Fight Club 28 times."
Fight Club, we didn't talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So before we get to Fight Club, though, real quick, I just want to wrap up the Limp Bizkit notes. So the second album had Method Man, right? The third album had Exhibit, who should fucking know better. But on a beat produced by DJ Lethal, the beat is tridash. It's not even like they got in Muggs or like Lord Finesse, right?
But shouldn't Method Man and Premier know better too?
Well, they both at least made $50,000 off that, and they should have known better too. And then on the third album, they also did the theme song for Mission Impossible 2, which I forgot.
Really?
Oh shit! They did.
Oh, I gotta go back.
The music is fire, but when you have to hear Fred Durst and listening to their music, he either does two vocal styles. He either does this shit, fuck it up right now, shut the fuck up, like he does that, or he does the
so funny.
Like he's terrible. Like he is abjectly terrible as a musician. But when Mike said the tracksuits, this is what I want to throw in. My biggest suspicion about Fred Durst and to a lesser extent Jonathan Davis is when you wear Adidas, right? The epitome of b-boys, all right, around the world.
Right.
Fred Durst would wear the Adidas sneakers. Jonathan Davis and them were wearing the tracksuits, right? Where did they get that from? Because like we're saying, they aren't fucking with Chino XL. They're not fucking with Razkaz. They're not fucking with
Beastie Boys.
To
and
me,
also,
it's Beastie
and
Boys.
Also,
first album. Beastie Boys first album.
European culture. Like soccer clubs, they wear a lot of tracksuits.
They weren't. That wasn't hitting over here yet.
Boys.
You're giving them way too much credit. It's Beastie Boys, and then to me, my other guess was Anthony Kiedis, because Kiedis was doing that.
He was
kind of talking. I'm rapping, but I'm singing, but I'm not really rapping, but I'm singing again. Like,
and I'm not really singing either.
You know what I mean? Like doing that shit where he would bend and fucking use his hands, like he was rapping.
Rap hands, yes, he did have
seriously as a rapper. Yeah. So when I listen to Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst keeps saying shit like, busting a dope rhyme, these beats are hard, hit you with the beat. Like he would say like b-boy shit. You know what I mean? Like 80s b-boy talking about, but then like, I'm gonna fuck you, fuck up, pussy. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, yo, this is Licensed to Ill. Like all of the worst elements of Licensed to Ill with those dudes disavowed and, you know, distance themselves from, but it's Licensed to Ill. You know what I mean? It's not Check Your Head. It's not ill communication. They weren't talking that shit by that point. And that's closer in time to Limp Bizkit and Korn than Licensed to Ill. Same thing with Kid Rock. It's like when he comes along, Beasties are fucking massive by combining rap and rock and punk and all that shit. My guess is the labels and these dudes all was like, oh shit, we could crack the fuck off if we take a page out of Beastie's book.
Yeah, like I said, that wasn't Kid Rock's first iteration. He was trying to be a straight up rapper, b-boy, DJ.
Yes.
You know
he wasn't trying to be no Allman Brothers ass bullshit. Bob Seger. Go fuck yourself, bro. He wasn't on that wave. So my thing is, when they were trying to bite the Beasties, but being like the most repugnant version of We Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party, to me, like listening to all that music in a short amount of time, I'm like, it's all there. You know, and like Alaska said, if you're gonna book these motherfuckers, that's who's coming to the show, bro. You know what I mean? Like
he knew that.
He knew that shit. That's all I want to say about that. I'm sorry.
He totally knew that shit. I think that they adopted those things because there was no one else in heavy music doing it. Like, I don't like any of that music. I think it's all fucking terrible, but I can actually say that I respect those bands for starting a total wave that didn't exist prior.
True.
Like nothing sounded like Korn when Korn came out. Nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, I thought it was awful, but it was at least innovative, you know, but I think that the whole outfit thing, like they knew that they had to have something. It's funny, like they always shit on like the boy bands for like the fancy outfits and all that.
Yes.
Tips and all
You
that.
have, yeah,
You have
but
your
I mean,
uniform.
You're in a band where you're always in a fucking stupid backwards hat. Then you got Wes Borland's goofy ass. There's always painting his face and shit.
And Jonathan
it's the
Davies
same type of shit.
Jonathan Davies with the white dreadlocks.
Oh, and then
is always a conversation starter.
The fucking bass player would always wear the FUBU. Remember
Right.
that?
Yeah.
Right.
Always wearing the FUBU jersey, the football jersey.
Yep.
But it's like, again, to me, it's like I was watching the Limp Bizkit video for like, Faith, right? When they flipped George Michael.
Yeah, and he's wearing the bomber, right? He has the big on.
Yeah, but the beginning of the video is them doing the Beastie Boys style, the slow motion shot where he's in the camera in between the tour buses, and Wes Borland's dressed like Sabotage in the video, where he's got the fucking bushy mustache and the aviators and the wig. You know what I mean? Like it's them being like ha 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 ha, and then like WC's in the video and all these motherfuckers like
that's funny.
Them like fronting for the most macho rappers, but again, it's like they're not listening to fucking Motion Man and Dell and all that shit, or like interested in oh, where did this break come from? Oh, it's Jimmy Smith. That's crazy. That's a Beastie Boys thing to be like, oh shit, Gil Scott-Heron's ill, let's flip his shit. These dudes were like, pussy, beer, like that was their whole bongs and shit. Alaska, you like your child.
Yeah, I mean they were. Oh no, go ahead, Alaska.
Yeah, I mean I was just gonna say like, there's also like sort of industry rappers have notoriously shitty taste in rock music.
100%.
Yes.
So them like coupling with these groups. I mean, like remember how everybody fucking loved Maroon 5 for like 3 years, or Coldplay?
Yeah.
Like they were like, ooh, these are the best rock bands ever.
Now Coldplay first 3 albums, but continue.
The first album.
I mean, sure.
Masterpiece.
But it was like that's all I want to say. Fucking industry people have the worst fucking taste. Because it's all business for them. Like they see like an opportunity to make money. And I guess to your point about Premier and Method Man, like, okay, it's an opportunity to make money. This is our business.
Right.
We're not this isn't for the art. This is for the paycheck.
No. Right.
Where we gonna run? Maybe we could beat up on the sun. Got good Method on the track. Like his shit is so buns, bro. Like his bars are bad. Like not even Anthony Kiedis bad. That where he's like, I'm talking shit like this. I'm smacking my hands and flee. And like, nah, this dude thinks he's going off. He thinks he's Rakim out here.
But you know why you don't like it? Because you listen to actual hip hop.
Correct.
Right.
But the dudes that don't, that shit is so simplistic. They love it. It totally makes sense for them. Like they're not going to listen to something like Cool G Rap because it's too complex for them. Yeah. But they can listen to Limp Bizkit because it's easy to memorize. It's easy to identify with because it's just pointlessly angry and it's talking about quote unquote bitches,
and fucking people up
fucking people up. That's what those kids know. And if you think about it, like this was a group of industry dudes making hip hop friendly for white kids who would not normally think hip hop is. They're doing the same shit that fucking Lil Dicky does or that Asher Roth did. It's the same shit. And I'm not even hating on those guys. I mean, I hate Lil Dicky, but I don't have any problem with Asher Roth. But I'm just like, I get what it is. I see it. And the industry dudes know what it is too. They know that these kids at that moment were not going to go out and listen to actual hip hop. But when you look at someone like Exhibit, I mean, shit, he already doing fucking the Pimp My Ride shit by that point?
Potentially,
yeah,
right.
It intersected.
So it kind of made sense.
He was MTV mainstay,
and I was gonna say MTV is, they're there with the with their hand on the gear shift,
Yeah, I mean, to a small degree, like I'm sure people like to a small degree, of course. I think that the dudes that were in like Limp Bizkit, they knew of hip hop, like they knew of Premier. You know what I mean? Right. They probably didn't listen to fucking Gangstar like that.
Group Home or some shit, right?
Right. Like they knew of certain elements, and they probably thought like, yeah, we have this white kid shit on lock, but it would kind of be cool to have like a little bit of hip hop cred. So maybe if we get fucking Method Man on here, that would make sense because
But I always thought it was interesting.
And even if they didn't, there was an A&R that did.
Yes.
Yeah, but I always thought it was interesting who they picked. Isn't it easier just to get KRS-One and just call it a day?
KRS-One probably wouldn't have done it.
Wasn't popping back then.
No, he was not popping.
Okay, indeed.
Yeah, white kids didn't give a fuck about KRS-One at that point, but they loved Method Man because he was from Wu and he was like the really good-looking guy.
The good-looking guy.
Yep. He was a
So it
star.
made
He was a
sense.
superstar.
And didn't he have the How High movie by then?
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah,
I don't think that was out yet. That wasn't out
But
yet.
he
But
did
he was
have
still
he did have a
he was
higher
in Belly.
exposure. He was
Belly.
on more songs. He was
Yes.
on Belly. He was
Yes.
the one doing a lot of features. So
Yeah, How
if they
High
had to
was
close
like-
their eyes,
2001.
Yeah.
if they had to close their eyes and pick a Wu-Tang member,
But
they
even
would
Method
all.
Man's verse is fucking trash on them songs, bro.
of
His
course it
rhymes
is. He
are
probably didn't give a
garbage.
fuck.
No, but he made 50 bands. Like he was set.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But like, like when this motherfucker says, "Who could be the boss? Look up to the cross, stranded in the land of the lost, standing up sideways, I'm blazing up the path, running up the highways to rap." What the fuck? What are you saying to me right now, bro? Shut up. You never listen to AZ in your life.
No.
You never listen to fucking Project Blowed. You don't know none of this shit. You know Beastie Boys. You know like Billboard shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what you know. You know Billboard Top 10. You don't know shit about rap.
That's all he had to know. And then, he didn't have, because like who would like if he was listening to Project Blowed and that type of shit, right?
Right.
And he showed up to an actual like rap show. Who the fuck is gonna hang out with him? No one.
Bro.
But if he goes to a fucking frat boy party and walks in, busting those whack ass raps, everyone there is gonna be like, yo, this guy can rap. This is fucking cool. Spit another verse, Fred. You know what I mean?
Yes. And he's got the bars. He's gonna say, so what's it all about? And where we gonna run? Maybe we can beat up on the sun. Discretion is advised with a blood of virgin eyes. Limping on the track with the method to get this unblocked and get one shot. What the fuck? Come on, bro. This was a speaking spell shit. Fisher Price my first rhyme.
Stop, man.
He had hundreds of thousands of motherfuckers rapping his shit at that whack ass festival.
And
that's all that matters.
That third album, Chocolate Starfish, is
man.
it's the fastest selling rock album in music history.
Really?
He did 400,000 first day.
Are you serious?
I looked at that shit up, bro.
Wow.
And you know what? I worked at a record store. When we started buying back used CDs, motherfuckers got 300 copies of that shit came in day one. People selling that album right back to us.
Wow.
We were selling that shit for $4. People bought it for $18. We gave them $2. We sold it for $4. Right next to the new shit. You know what I mean? That shit came and went quick, bro.
How quickly the mighty fall. Yeah, and then speaking of Fred, y'all seen his new look with the
he's a fucking bum,
the
bro.
red. He has the
Where he
red,
looks like a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yes. With the members only jacket, the red shades, and that weird ass wig. I don't know
He's
what's
a fucking
happening.
bum. Yo, real quick, let's talk about the Fight Club angle because we talked about that on the White
yeah,
Rapper
boom.
episode. Hit me with the fight.
Well,
it's behind you right now, behind your shoulders, the Fight Club poster.
Yeah, so I have a Fight Club.
Are we gonna actually talk about the festival at some point?
I think we have it. After what we have.
Talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
We haven't been.
I mean, we missed one of the we didn't talk about one of the dopest parts of the whole festival was when they were fucking playing around in shit.
Oh,
yeah, so all right,
great.
so there's all this mud reporting. If anybody knows about it, they saw all those pictures. I didn't know that it was like, hey, this was also the overflow from the porta potties. I thought it was mud from like just, and they were like, no, they couldn't say with any certainty that there wasn't feces mixed in with that.
A lot of
so
pink
that makes
eye.
me look at all
a lot
of those.
Fucking pink eye at that.
That's
festival.
crazy, man. But you could wait. I don't know. I'm a kid from Brooklyn, so I don't know much. But shit smells, right? So if you're
if you're sitting in 103-degree asphalt in upstate New York when it's just disgusting in general, and you're a stupid fucking drunk.
Oh my God! So
you're not going to separate diarrhea from like.
So was there a layer of odor at this thing? Can that be said?
It would have to be. I don't even want to talk about that part. I'm talking about the Fight Club angle. I want to talk about the Fight Club angle real quick.
Okay, so that's last one to talk about the festival, so we just did. Okay, so look, Fight Club.
Hit him.
Fight Club drops, and this must have been like what Scarface was to the hood, because this was like all of their dreams. These
it's the original Paid in Full for angsty white dudes in 99.
This is all their dreams come true. This wanton spirit that takes them away from their proletariat slavery lives and gives them purpose. And it was all bromancing. A lot of bros, men living together, no
shirts
women,
on,
no
sweaty
women everywhere. Yes, making soap, but no women.
No women.
Except women. I gotta keep saying.
Singer, except Marla
gotta
Singer.
keep saying no women around.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like this was the theme to this anti culture of theirs because it was everything they wanted to come true. And I remember liking Fight Club, but more for the cinematic touches, the multiple personality disorder. But the Operation Mayhem, I didn't key into how that was like actually a thing, and that certain men wanted that thing to be a thing. Like I didn't know how semi-realistic it could be in terms of like turning a Fight Club male bonding into a terrorist organization of anarchists and stuff. So the fact that was around and became, but the funny thing is,
it wasn't a big
Fight Club
movie.
was not a hit movie.
Yeah,
it was not a hit movie then, because I mean, Fight Club also, the nuances of Fight Club come when you watch it multiple times and when you're a little older. So the fact that these kids were a manifestation of that, they were doing that against their own will. They didn't know. When you get older into your 20s, mid-20s, and you watch Fight Club as part of some college class or some shit, then you start realizing the themes and how it was actually written by an adult, for adults. And I can't remember the guy's name, Penchak, but it was based on a book.
Chuck Palahniuk.
You know, Chuck Palahniuk, thank you. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of...
So real quick, can we talk about Fight Club real quick?
Do it, yeah.
Fight Club came out in October and Woodstock was in July. So Fight Club shouldn't even be part of this conversation, really.
I was looking that up as you were saying it, literally.
But the irony of...
When Fred Durst said on the third album, I've watched Fight Club 28 times.
Yeah.
That's an actual quote.
So I'm just saying, like...
This goes back to my problem with this documentary being like, we're going to take everything we think about this exact second and then force feed it into this thing that happened 20 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
Like that's the shit Bill Simmons does all the time with fucking everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, it creates this bullshit world of fucking think piece culture. And that's all this is. It's like a bad think piece where it's like the people that are talking in this thing, they all like, I have this idea that I want to talk about. Somehow I'm going to fucking shoehorn it in here.
Correct.
I'm going to talk about like how this whole thing is like all bro rape culture. Disgusting assholes, but also they're standing up to the corporate greed of capitalism.
Right, that was weird.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Which one is it?
Right.
That was, and what was the Napster angle? Why were they doing like Napster?
That was that was the pinnacle of the industry.
Everything in.
That was the industry making 10 billion that year. That wasn't Napster.
Yeah, but they were acting like this was the last hurrah before Napster came crumbling over.
I mean, that's correct, but that's not for
and these are the same
3 years.
people that are like, they spend the whole time talking about like how music can save the world. Like music was all this powerful shit. It's so powerful, but we're also not going to blame music for the violence.
and that's
you know
another point.
It's, like, it's just these people that have these fucking stupid ideas that they allow to talk about shit that don't know shit about shit. Like the most fucking, like the people that talked in this thing that I was like, okay, you make good points. Are fucking asshole Moby.
I know.
And fucking Dave Mustaine. I'm like,
yes.
Why are these the only people that are making
looks like
any
the
sense?
Fucking Red Skull reanimated right now, bro. He looks bad out here, straight up. And my funniest thing was they were like, 3 women played at Woodstock '99. Yo, Woodstock '94, 6 women played.
Oh,
right.
Okay, it wasn't like this fucking utopia of feminism, dog. It wasn't Lilith Fair. It was 6, still less than 7.
And people died at that shit too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even
know. So they're definitely, you know, the documentaries definitely point us in the direction they want us to go. As opposed to
I mean, there was a whole point where they were like this was the boomers forcing this shit upon us. I'm like, you had 500,000 people almost at this thing. Nobody forced this shit on anybody. It was like they wanted to go like, just get off of like your stupid, like I only know about this fucking second of culture, and everything else is this second of culture. It's the only way I could talk about it through this lens. It's like my major problem with fucking like it's like talk thing.
You're breaking up.
Wait, you breaking up. Say that again.
Oh, I was just saying it's like it's my major issue with like this type of criticism in general. They don't actually talk about what they're talking about.
No.
They always want to like subvert it into some other thing.
And paint around the edges, color outside the lines.
Yeah, fuck all that. Oh man. Well, why don't we take a quick break? We'll wrap it up. Closing thoughts on Alaska's favorite documentary of the last 25 years, Woodstock '99 on HBO, brought to you by Bill Simmons. It was worth $250 million somehow. What are we doing wrong?
It could have been a real interesting documentary if you took that element out of it.
The Bill Simmons part of it?
The Bill Simmons element.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's terrible.
Yeah.
He's the one that said, I swear to God, like 6 years ago, when the Memphis Grizzlies started losing a key playoff game at home, he's like, You could feel it in the crowd. It's the same feeling they had when Dr. Martin Luther King was murdered on the balcony.
Just stop. I don't.
He said that in a piece.
I can't.
Yeah,
they're
he's a fucking idiot.
He's like the fans all know what it's like here in Memphis. They went through the MLK assassination. I'm like, you're talking about a fucking basketball game in 2000.
All of history is happening so he can have a thought. Everything that's happened in history happened so he can have a thought on this exact moment. And like all the people he has, like Wesley Morris, the woman from Spin,
sucks too.
The most interesting
Stephen
person
Hyden?
was like John Hyde or Stephen Hyden, and he sucks in
Dude,
general.
Barry, shouts to Disco Vietnam. Barry's been going at Stephen Hyden for 9 years on Twitter, called him soft and garbage.
Yeah, he's awful, and he was like the best part of this as far as like the journalist aspect of it.
All I wanted to say when he was talking was, I'm like, you were an outside fan. I hate people to say that, but I'm like, you were an outside fan.
Yeah.
You were an outside. That's just some street shit to say. But I'm like, you weren't outside. You weren't wearing Timbs with the broccoli on when fucking court was banging. You weren't out on these streets, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Steel's Kitchen, the new compilation from us, Wrecking Crew. The follow-up to last year's Raheem's Lament, dropping June 4th at wreckingcrew.bandcamp.com. All new joints from Shrapnel, Career Crooks, Cargo Colts. All new solo songs from me, Small Pro, Curly Castro, and Prem Rock. Alaska's on there. Marcus Pinn's doing cuts all up and then out. Peace. Fresh Kill's got a beat on there. Shouts to Canada. We got Jason Griff on this piece. Stan Ipkiss. Fat Boy Sharif, our very dear friend. Scorsese, rest in peace. He's on there. Yo, man. Disco Vietnam, Dose 4GW. Whew. Mastered by Cryptic, one of Adam's fam, and artwork and design by PQ. Family affair. And our family's the illest. Wrecking Crew, Steel's Kitchen, June 4th. Get it.
Call Out Culture Podcast brought to you by The Ringer and Bill Simmons Industries. We're going to wrap up this episode with Myke C-Town. Grantland.
Let's change our podcast name to Grantland.
Grantland.com presents Call Out Culture. And The Ringer brought to you by, Bud Light, whatever the fuck his commercial is. So anything... I guess we'll just wrap it up here. Anything of note that you learned about yourself, that you learned about music when you watched it again? I listened to a lot of Limp Bizkit.
I learned don't give out candles and think that like I remember when the fires were starting, I said, wait a minute. That organ, because it was such a nice, soft-spoken black man. Oh, we're just handing out candles. So, we're gonna have a moment of silence. He was so well-meaning. They had boxes and boxes of these things. They didn't think they would be looking at Dante's Inferno a few hours later. I was just like, did I learn anything about myself? What was I doing in 1999? I was in college. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know that
you were listening to Cali Ages 12 inches with the
definitely
close ear.
Yeah. I definitely was. And FT and Buck.
He was blending it with damn, I forgot the name of the group.
Michael
Papa
Myers,
Roach Records.
Papa Roach and Cali Ages to take Castro home.
I had my stained CDs, like you keep them open when you count them.
Into pieces. This
is my life. Suffocation.
Yeah, my favorite thing about that whole genre is like these motherfuckers talk about committing suicide at a $450,000 house. You know what I mean? Like that shit is always like, this life sucks. I only got Xbox One, PlayStation 2, every fucking album. Fuck this. You know what I mean? Anyway,
good times, man.
That was a good time. Alaska, any self reflection, any thoughts? All right, he's on mute. We'll get back to him. Myke, and anything you rediscovered about your life watching Woodstock 99?
No, it just brought back memories. Like I said, man, like I remember hearing the stories when these dudes came back and they were like, yeah, water was $4 and there was people playing in shit and some of us thought it was mud.
Oh.
And then they lit everything on fire and tore the walls down. I was like, what? And of course, my thinking, I'm like, oh, Rage Against the Machine got y'all riled up. But then I was like, no. You guys were just angry fucking rich white kids that just wanted a reason to be mad. And fucking Fred Durst said break shit. Isn't that one of his jams? So they just started breaking shit. And then that just shows how fucking stupid these kids are, man.
Yeah.
right. It's just like
my favorite, man, when I listen to that shit now, when he's like, I'll pack a chainsaw, I'll cut your ass raw. I was like, bitch, I'll smack you with an open hand across your face in front of your girl. You won't do shit.
Poor Fred. He tried.
Some fucking shit tonight. It's all about the he say bullshit.
He's like, just one of them days. I was like, man,
it just reinforces why I hated all of that shit so much. Like when I knew dudes that were getting into that, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
A lot.
Why are you listening to this? There's Slayer. What is your problem?
Oh,
he told me so.
But
Jesus
hey, man,
Christ.
you know, a lot of all that shit introduced a lot of young kids into metal in general. So it's whatever. But the only thing this documentary did is, like I said, just brought back memories of when I remember all of this shit happening and thinking it was this was like the original Fyre Fest. I was sitting at home fucking laughing my ass off, being like, you guys paid a whole bunch of money to be drowned in shit and not have any water. Like, it's fucking incredible. I love it. You guys deserve this and worse.
You know, it's like the moviegoers at the end of Inglourious Bastards that get fucking trapped in there and set on fire like that.
Yes.
Hey man, you want to battle with Hitler all day? This got expiration date, bro. This ain't gonna go on forever, bro.
The only dude I felt bad for was the poor guy that like was writing those letters.
Oh boy.
And he was like, this isn't funny. I don't know why I'm laughing, but he was just like, all I want to see is Metallica, man. That's all I want. All I want is to go up front for Metallica. And homie died for Metallica.
He died for Metallica.
Who's died for fucking KRS? Who's died for Rock?
Scott LaRock.
Oh, that's fucked up, bro.
Too soon. It's only been 38 years. Too soon. But real quick, my favorite part of Homie's notes was like, Wyclef Jean. Okay, like it's not feeling Wyclef. He was no opinion on Wyclef. Yeah, Papa Roach is
we didn't even talk about Wyclef and his fake ass Jimi Hendrix bullshit he was trying to do.
He had an accelerant and lighter fluid, and none of them were catching.
Right.
They didn't practice.
Until he threw his record on it. Then it lit on fire.
Can we keep it a buck? Wyclef is the original cultural appropriator of everything. He appropriates every culture.
He definitely has, like, you know, Vulture in his family. He knows what Carry On tastes like. He swoops in and he eats dead meat all the times of the day. We know that.
He's all in.
But it was interesting that the documentary, as we were saying, was painting the way he wanted to paint. They didn't show any of the decent acts. I thought there would be more rage. They didn't show much rage. You know, and like the
was not a prominent part.
know, and the other acts that were actually like somewhat decent, they didn't show them. They were just like
the Roots.
Here and there.
They just show Black Thought with a sleeveless sweater vest, 107 degrees. I'm like, fam.
I thought that
was actually my favorite part of the documentary.
But wait, imagine that crowd watching him do.
I know that thinking of being like, it's 85 degrees, I'll wear a sweatshirt, but I'll wear shorts. Like, I know that thinking of when you're young, like that type of stupid thinking.
But imagine him in front of that crowd doing like 100% Dundee. You're like, everybody touch this elephant. Their motherfuckers are just confused. They're like, I don't know what's going on with these guys. Like, are you talking about fucking somebody up? I'm out. It's time for me to get a $5 Dasani. I'm out of here. It's like, that's not for me.
Oh, there was no Dasani back then.
Any self-discovery during your viewing of Woodstock 99 available on HBO via Bill Smith?
I mean, no self-discovery. I kind of like Myke. I just was sort of like, it was like Schadenfreude of just enjoying other people's suffering that deserve to suffer. I really felt bad for that guy, like his friend that got killed, like just sort of like rooting for it. I felt really bad for that dude. Because I think there was a lot of people there probably like that too, that were like, I'm just going to go see this band I want to see.
And they had like the worst time of their life.
I'm not an asshole. I'm just being like forced and trapped in this place with all these assholes. Right. And I didn't know that Dave Mustaine or Megadeth ended the whole thing with Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, which is the perfect fuck you to the Woodstock people, like the promoters. Like that made my day. And Anthony Kiedis is a fucking moron. Like,
no, he is
really just solidified my thoughts of him being a fucking moron.
He is a fucking jerk.
What did he do? He did a cover.
The song Fire.
He came out and did. Yeah, Fire by Jimi Hendrix at the end, which is hilarious.
Which is hilarious.
Right. But he's also funny, fucking ass.
He was like 40. He wasn't like 21, like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. He's like, he was on his 9th album when he did that. Like, this motherfucker been around the world knowing crowds, venues, the temperature, the mood, the promoter, the fucking audience. And he's just like, yeah, man, fucking let's do Jimi Hendrix and take our pants off, whatever. I'm like, yo,
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I didn't need to see Flea's Day.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I didn't need to either.
That was weird.
And that was the
I always
first
thought they
time
had
that
socks on. I didn't realize that.
we never saw that
slapping
footage
the
like
bass.
Slapping the bass.
I'll wrap it all up. It's been
Please do.
it's been a wild week of again listening to the Limp Bizkit songs and the catalog and the Korn record. I think the documentary is like we said, to not even include Eminem when you're talking about the culture of the time when he arguably held the most sway at that point was fucking hilarious to me. Like, I don't know if anybody can look up whenever the Marshall Mathers LP dropped, like that year. What I feel like they hit in the summer.
99.
Not so. The
It was 2000. It wasn't
summer.
for like it was like a year later.
Okay,
It was,
but
it was a summer record.
he was still all up in everything.
Yeah,
all
MTV,
Slim Shady
TRL,
shit, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't play the shit. DMX did, but it's like we said, he's in cahoots with Kid Rock and all that shit. And then Kid Rock doing like the pimp. I remember that when he had like the white mink, and the cane.
Oh my god!
And then have like his man, like the short dude Joey with like a mule, and then like
the short dude.
Yeah, like his man, Joey. I think he had like a thyroid issue or some shit. His man from Detroit, whoever he was. He would come out, but he had like the Derby, like Run DMC, and then he had the fucking Adidas, but like the leather Adidas pants. So he was signifying like, oh, I'm with like that old school, like we're about the real hip hop.
He would wear a rope chain sometimes.
He would wear that shit and then do songs like Aerosmith at fucking award shows and all that. I'm like, bro, if you walked up to Jay-Z right now, he doesn't know who the fuck you are and he doesn't care.
Only thing I really liked about Kid Rock was his black drummer, his black female drummer. Because she's crazy.
She's her the drummer for Lenny Kravitz, the other black chick with the afro. But
I'm trying to find Joey. Who's Joey, man?
That was his man. He'd always introduce him. He was like his hype man and shit. That
the
was
little,
like
little dude
from
the dude. He died. Okay,
he had like some like thyroid issue. He was like mad old, but he looked like a kid.
Joe C.
That was his name.
It is.
Yeah, I just think like Kid Rock, it was like the perfect, because he was probably like 30 when that shit hit back then. You know what I mean? He had been through the ringer of the industry and all that. He's another one that like masterminded the whole like white trash, Bob Seger, Run DMC, AC/DC shit. And I'm like, yo, man, he's another one where, remember he said on stage, like, Monica Lewinsky's a fucking whore. Bill Clinton's a motherfucking pimp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, what? You're on stage like shouting out the president? Are you kidding me? Like, what's more corny than that? Like giving the president dap, and you're a fucking rock star who doesn't give a fuck. Like, are you kidding me?
We know. Well, we've come to find out he was everything with a corporate show would love to be. So
that's what I'm just saying. Like he's a corporate dickhead. But it was interesting, like to see the shit they covered and what they did. And then again, listening to a lot of Limp Bizkit for like 3 days, and I was like, man, if you put any other competent, solid singer over some of this music, this shit would be kind of fucking fire. Like they would be a band I would go back to here and there, because the rest of the
that's the coulda woulda about it. It's not. It's him. And
well, he's like the first like superstar like troll who everything was like very everything about him was deliberate. Like everything he did was to be an instigator and like stick his thumb in your eye and shit. So it worked out, man. And motherfuckers cashed out and sold like 40 million records and shit. And then
Woodstock 99 is like the festival for people who don't know the difference between good and bad attention.
Bad attention.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, them dudes never drew a
All right.
All right, so let's wrap it up.
Let's get into what everybody got going on before we shut it down. Anything currently?
My new album, Vegas Vic, is available. Peter Rosenberg just played the song on Sunday night. Okay, player, just dap me up. It's on Chong Records. Vinyl is. We're moving to vinyl, man. We're getting it in hand. CDs and tapes are out now. The digital is $1,000 on Bandcamp, so don't fuck around. Buy the tape.
Come with that stack.
Buy the digital. I mean, don't buy the digital. Well, you can buy the digital. That would be great. That would pay for some ill kindergarten supplies I need right now with my son. So you can fuck with that. Record, the tape, and CDs. Them joints are limited. Them shits are moving. So yeah, excited about that record. You'll hear me on a bunch of other podcasts beside ours talking about it. So I want to keep it home team right here. Castro, what do you got, man? What you got, homie?
I actually got a release date for my record.
Ooh, you want to break the exclusive news?
Hell no, I can't say that yet.
Okay,
well, I do have a release it. So it's exciting. All right, you know, if anybody listening, it's September 24th.
Bong. New Curly Castro solo LP. It's your first since when did Tosh hit?
Tosh was 2019.
2019. Bong. 2 years.
This is a real good record too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. Alaska, what do you got?
I got Human Zoo coming out September 3rd. Pre-sale October 20th, produced by Jason Griff.
Wait, pre-sale October 20th or August 20th?
I'm sorry, August 20th.
August.
We're gonna pre-sale afterwards. It's post-sale.
You're doing some time machine shit. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah. Pre-sale August 20th. Album comes out September 3rd. Human Zoo. So
CDs,
it's got
physicals. You got CDs.
It's got love. Yeah, it's gonna be a Matchbox cassette CD 2-in-1 deal.
There you go.
Then digital, probably do some t-shirts, but yeah, it's got Fatboy Sharif on it. It's got Love Ulysses featured on it. Got a bunch of people doing hooks, which I'm really excited about.
No, that's not how you say that. Say the features. That's how
I got
what?
Alex Ludovico. I got Prem. I got one song that has hooks from Zilla, Curly Castro, Rob Sonic, Def C, Breezy Bruin, and Mike Eagle. Because the hook repeats like every 2 bars.
Stop explaining it. That's enough.
So.
Featuring all of them on the record. God damn it.
Additional vocals from.
There you go.
Girls,
yeah.
man. We got Slick Rick, Q-Tip,
Yeah.
all that motherfuckers. Biz, rest in peace.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Human Zoo, we're coming. Mike,
Artwork by
Mike,
Captain Watts.
Captain Watts. Mike, you just got another, ill endorsement. What else you got going on?
I got nothing going on, man. Compared to y'all got all kinds of shit going on, man. I just sit here and talk shit about what other people got going on.
There you go.
But yeah, for those that are not familiar, go to DeadEndHipHop on YouTube. Or you can go to my channel, Myke C-Town, MYKECTOWN. You know, if you want to talk about records and random other weirdo bullshit. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got going on.
You can catch Mike at the Pit fucking Corn reunion show. He'll be right in the front, bro. The hands up, the hoodie on and shit.
That was the first show I ever got like a bloody lip, and I felt so fucking cool. Yeah. During Biohazard, some motherfucker elbowed me in the mouth, and I was like, yeah. This is how you do it.
Club came out. You were like, oh shit, it all connects.
Right.
Go blow up a Blockbuster. Set that bitch on fire.
Where's Brad Pitt when you need him? All right. Brad Pitt. In my auditory hallucinations, that's where he's at.
That's
all right, y'all.
All right, guys. It's been
Call Out Culture.
Thanks for coming back.
Woodstock 99. Call Out
Crushed
Culture
Fun once again.
Crushed Fun once again.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Laid waste to it. This is Myke C-Town featuring. Thank you very much, brother, for wrecking us again with your appearance.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And for Alaska, Zilla, and Curly Castro, we are signing off. All our Call Out Cultures, follow us on Twitter. Call Out Cult.
YouTube, all that shit.
Follow us on Instagram, Call Out Culture Podcast.
Patreon.
Salute to all our Patreoners. And we got YouTube channel. You know, just spread the love. There's plenty of it out there to get. Whatever you like.
Bow.
Don't go to anything that starts with a wood and ends with a stock. Me and Zilla can talk. We were part of something called Hoodstock.
We were. Hoodstock is where we met. Or
we
you introduced me on stage. Hoodstock.
Yeah, that's when I first introduced Zilla on stage.
Hoodstock.
He was doing the whole towel on the shoulder thing.
A lot of towels back then. A lot of towels. We didn't have like Under Armour and shit back then. A lot of Gildan heavy stitching.
So Zilla used to rock this towel over the shoulder, and he also had like this leather wristband. I think he thought it gave him powers or something. Yeah, I'll shoot you a little hip hop style. But his name was Zilla, and I was running with a crew named Squad Zilla back then. So Zilla didn't know that he had beef, and I was coming for him because when I found his name was Zilla, this is real story. I was really coming for him until we got cool. So he evaded like an evisceration. When I was much younger. Man, I was so much younger and way more ignorant. You would not have liked it. Anyway. Call Out Culture. Check out his shit. All right, peace, y'all.
Peace, guys.
Peace.
Talk to him.